Man blends into a women's clothing store and starts dressing up, putting on lipstick and a wig. He disguises himself as a beautiful girl with his excellent makeup skills. Only then does he dare to go out during the day. At night, he has to hide in a women's clothing store. It turns out that there is a virus outbreak in the outside world. As long as the infected person kisses him, men also quickly become beautiful girls. The future world has developed a special beauty drug. No matter how ugly the girl can become a beautiful girl after taking. Once this beauty drug is on the market, countless girls scramble to buy and take it. There are a lot of beautiful girls on the street, but the side effects of becoming beautiful are also very obvious. This beauty drug can be infected with a contagious virus after taking it. So within a short time this virus broke out. One day a man just returned home. Suddenly, he saw a young girl tied up in his house. The father was holding a knife and sighing. It turned out that the man's brother was infected with the virus. The man's brother had been infected with the virus and had become like this. After the man learned the truth, he could not accept. Wanted to check the hands. After all, the physical structure cannot just change. But his father stopped him and said he had already checked. After saying that, he collapsed on the sofa. The man found a hickey on his father's arm. This means that he is also infected. The father advised him to leave quickly. Otherwise, he would lose his mind and the man would not escape. The man couldn't bear to leave his family behind. While he was hesitating, his father suddenly started to mutate. In the blink of an eye, the old father turned into a little girl. He had lost consciousness and stood up to kiss the man. The man had no choice but to leave in pain. The man went to a women's clothing store and disguised himself as a beautiful girl. During the day, he goes out to look for supplies. At night, he hid in the women's clothing store to rest. Except for the trouble of putting on and taking off makeup every day, life is comfortable and comfortable. At night, an infected person suddenly breaks into the store. The man had just taken off his makeup. The infected found him and quickly rushed over. At the critical moment, two other survivors appeared to save him. Surprisingly, there was a girl among these two survivors, although already infected. But her body has some kind of antibody to resist the virus. That's why she didn't mutate. Perhaps the girl's antibodies can be used to develop an antidote to the virus. The three people then found a car, started to go to the quarantine area. There are many infected areas on the way. This journey is full of crises. To be on the safe side, a few other survivors were found to form a legion of men dressed as women to escort the girls and men. The women's legion wore a uniform of pink. They looked very charming and feminine. They finally arrived at the quarantine zone after a lot of difficulties. The head of the quarantine area received the two men warmly, but the men felt strange. It seems that the quarantine area is not so safe. After getting off the bus, he called the doctor to draw the girl's blood to test the antibody composition. The person in charge took the man to the laboratory. There were many scientists doing experiments inside. There were many infected people imprisoned in the lab. The man felt something was wrong. He found a secret room in the back of the lab. He didn't expect that there were many babies inside. The man in charge said that these were the only remaining human offspring they had risked their lives to retrieve from the infected area. At night, the man in charge makes arrangements for the two men. At the dinner table, a scientist got drunk and accidentally told the truth about the antibodies. In fact, the antibodies in the girl's body are not in the blood but in the brain marrow. To develop the antidote, we must extract the girl's brain marrow. When the man heard this, he pulled the girl and ran away. The man has fallen in love with the girl during this time together. The two of them run into a room by mistake, opened the door and found that there are many normal girls in custody. The man was about to go forward to ask questions when, suddenly there was a blackness before his eyes. The person in charge came after him and knocked him out. In fact, all those girls were captured by the person in charge. They all had antibodies to the virus in their bodies, just like this girl. If we want to extract enough antibodies, we need a lot of immune girls like this girl, because the girl will die after a few times of antibody extraction. The person in charge told the man that in order to save all of humanity, sacrificing a few girls is nothing. The children the man saw in the secret room before were actually born from these immune girls and the soldiers in the quarantine zone. With these children, there will be a constant supply of antibodies. This will sooner or later develop an antidote. In order to save the girls and others, the man had to pretend to obey the person in charge and then slowly think of a solution. A few days later, it was time to extract the antibodies again. The man dresses the girls in gorgeous clothes and prepares to extract their brain marrow. The man took this opportunity to quietly release the infected people imprisoned in the quarantine area. Then he takes them with him and rushes to the lab. The unsuspecting soldiers are quickly infected. There was chaos. On the other side, the girl in the lab led the other sisters in a counterattack during the operation. The doctor was soon infected and incapacitated. The man joins the girl and the others and goes girls to the nursery. The children were taken out of the quarantine area, but the man and the girl were stopped by the person in charge. In the melee, the man in charge was killed by the man, and the girl was dying of wounds to protect the man. The man was so desperate, so he detonated the quarantine zone and the soldiers inside to die together.